welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Sadicka, and for those of you that are already subscribed, you already know what it is. Thank you for clicking on another one. And today, here for our Self-Care Sunday episode, I have a special guest. Yay! Everyone give a big round of applause for my friend ASHLENE, also known as Miss Confidentiality.
Hi guys. I actually felt so, you know when you're like getting a speech like made for you and you just have to stand there like.
We actually just filmed for your podcast. So let the people know a little bit about yourself.
I am a master's student in counseling psychology, and I use my Miss Confidentiality, which is not very confidential, but it's confidential for anybody who writes in for my podcast for Miss Confidentiality, and I go over professional and personal love advice.
As you can tell from the title of this video, or you can't tell, we're going to be talking a bit about boundaries and what that has to do with self-care. A little bit of a disclaimer before we get into this. These are my personal opinions and also things that work for me. Like I've said in many of my videos at this point, I like 3 sugars in my tea. You may like 0 because you're bitter. But Betty, we ain't got to drink from the same cup. So do what works for you. I'll do what works for me. And let's just be happy together, okay?
Can I co-sign that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm co-signing.
Okay, so let's get into this. Boundaries. I'm gonna let you talk first since you're a special guest.
Okay.
What are boundaries considered to you?
When I think of boundaries, it's kind of what I'm expecting of somebody else to respect. So whether that's like even like entering my personal space, like physically, like, you stand there, I stand here, or if that's like the way you communicate with me or when you communicate with me, i.e. like if you're sending texts at like 3 a.m. in the morning, like that would be something that's crossing my own personal boundaries, and it might not be for you. So for me, when I think of boundaries, it's like, what is your expectation of somebody in terms of like respecting you and your personal space?
I feel like boundaries are the walls that you have set that you don't want anyone to go beyond. And even then, you wouldn't want someone pushing on your walls, scratching on your walls, or doing anything towards your walls. So I feel like boundaries is that like cushion, that safe space where you feel comfortable and you don't want anyone to go beyond that.
I honestly, with that said though, would say boundaries is a house that's kind of made of clay more than brick. Because sometimes your boundaries and stuff could be created like from past trauma, from just a negative experience, whatever, right? Like as a protective factor. So like have it where, you could just like remold it when you need it.
How does somebody begin to set boundaries? Because for myself personally, I know that I kind of have a problem setting boundaries, to be very honest. I kind of have a problem saying no. I like to be accommodating, and I enjoy when people are accommodating with me and understanding. And sometimes I feel like setting boundaries can almost seem like you're not being accommodating.
Yeah. I think that's like a good point. Like it definitely comes with your personality, but I would say everybody essentially sets boundaries. Some people's are just more firm and like you said, like more kind of in your face, I guess you would say. Whereas like other people are more lenient and stuff. Because even from when you're young, you're setting boundaries, right? Like setting boundaries like, these are my toys and you only play with them when I give you them, or you only play with them when I'm around. Everybody sets boundaries, but I think that's a good point. Is like it looks different for everybody. So how I would say set boundaries is keeping your comfort in mind.
What would you say boundaries looks like within a friendship?
So like to each their own almost. Like if you are a person who's like comfortable setting boundaries as they go, like as it goes along, maybe you don't remember all your boundaries, maybe you don't even know they exist or whatever, right? Like you don't know what you need out of somebody, or you don't know what you're gonna want from the friendship. But I would obviously, if you're like it was more of a difficulty for you, I would say do it at the beginning, because that's just the easiest place. You're both in a safe zone. You're both creating a rapport. You're both trying to get to know each other. It's like almost like a trial and error part of your friendship, right?
Yeah. Well, what do you do, I would say, in the professional sense? How do I then set my boundary but still have respect for someone that is in power and is my boss? Like, how would you give advice to someone that's trying to navigate through that?
Yeah, I definitely think it's so different, because if somebody is in a position maybe like mine where I'm a bit more privileged in terms of just experience and education, then it's easier for me to walk away from a job if somebody's being disrespectful towards my boundaries.
Guys, I'm so sorry if you're hearing background noise. My apologies, my family is making noise.
So I'm always like to people, like in that interviewing process, you are a valuable person as well. Like, this is a valuable job maybe, but you're also a valuable person.
It's a transaction. They wouldn't be asking you about anything if they didn't need or want you as well.
So it's like that be known. Like, that's the space to let people know, like, you know, I do have, you know, expectations. That is almost a way of me like letting people know I'm stronger minded, or I'm strong minded in the sense I'm not going to be somebody that you're going to be able to push around without telling them.
How do we set boundaries in love?
Honestly, and I know, like, repeat. Obviously, I would suggest at the beginning. Like, that's just the perfect time to do it because it's the easiest, it's most comfortable, it's the time where you both are not madly in love with each other and you can go your separate ways. But it's always not the case. Most of the time we go through this, you know, infatuation stage,
puppy love
phase, or everything's so perfect and that's so cute. So I definitely say when it comes to relationships, for boundaries, do it together. And the reason I say do it together is because essentially most of the time, as I said, it's either you're setting it in the beginning, so you know, like, this is my expectation and this, that, and the third. But when you're setting it after, it's more than likely you're changing the dynamics of your relationship. So why not do it together? Nobody likes to feel like somebody's coming in and it's kind of like you said, like coming in and giving
like
you
a
rules.
dictatorship.
Yeah, like giving you rules or giving, you know, demands or whatever the case. So like do it together. And that
the whole relationship is supposed to be a partnership at the end of the day.
Exactly. And it just doesn't feel like it's one-sided. Create boundaries together, right? Create boundaries together. Or have time frames even for some stuff. And when I say that is because which the whole point is like self-care, and how is boundaries and self-care connecting. Self-care, you do need to create boundaries because there needs to be times that where you are able to take care of yourself
and put yourself first.
Exactly. And if you're in a relationship where either you live together or simply maybe your partner is just very like clingy and, you know, like they just seem to always be in your shadows, it's like you might need to be that person to set a bit of a time frame where it's like Friday afternoons are for me. Like, point blank period. Like, I don't. So what I say is set times. Number one, it's to let your partner first of all know when you're unavailable, or to know like the time that you're having for me. But it's also to hold your own self accountable for your self-care as well. It's like if you have, for anything, like you have Friday afternoon set aside, you're not making any plans, it's your time. You're gonna actually follow through because now you know Friday afternoons are my time and that's when I do things for me. And B, your partner is understanding because that's now a part of your relationship. It's not something where it's like you have 2 hours, I have 1, or you have 5, because I have 5, you have 5. Like, that's not how self-care works. Like, self-care is not even to say you have to only do it on the Friday, but it, like I said, it's kind of holding yourself accountable.
And doing what works best for you. Bloody hell, man. You know what? My phone always likes to bloody ring when I'm recording.
So self-care is not about you trying to fit it into somebody else's schedule. It's just letting somebody know, in terms of self-care in the relationship, right? It's just letting somebody, a heads up. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a heads up. And as I said, if you need a random Wednesday, then take your random Wednesday for your self-care. But it's also just having that expectation and letting it know it's a part of your relationship. Just like you go to work 9 to 5 and on Monday to Friday, and that's somewhere that you need to be and something you need to do regardless of maybe the mood of your partner that time or what your partner would like to do during those hours. Obviously, if it's not an emergency, you're going to be at work, right? And self-care, I think, should be the same thing in a relationship. It's like, these are my times. Yeah, I might have some wiggle room if we have a wedding on a Friday, but it's not a thing where
these are my non-negotiables.
Exactly. It becomes like your boundaries are a part of your non-negotiables.
What do I do if I'm months into this relationship and I haven't set certain boundaries because we were enjoying our puppy love stage, everything was honeymoon, and now certain things are going against things that I would usually set as a boundary, but I haven't done so yet, and now I don't even know how to do so because it's already being, like, it's already going on.
I'm just gonna look right into the camera. Take ownership.
Okay.
Take ownership. Take ownership. Like you said, it's like, I was enjoying this, I was enjoying our experience, I was enjoying this new, you know, I got caught up and I didn't even realize that there's so many different boundaries or there's so many expectations I have from you or I have from ourselves or I have for our relationship. and I just realized. So I apologize, right? Like, take ownership, apologize. Not apologizing about you having boundaries. It's apologizing that you weren't able to take a second and take a breath earlier on. So I apologize because, like I said, I didn't realize, like, I didn't notice, I didn't know it was going to get this serious, whatever the case is. But I apologize that I didn't bring this up in the beginning, but these are the expectations I have moving forward. As well as having, like, that openness where, like you said, maybe, yeah, you don't want to sit there and trade, right? Like, but have that openness to be open enough to understand why that might be frustrating for somebody who's receiving the information.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you now need to struggle to put boundaries into the relationship.
That's what I was going to ask next. At what point do you feel like, if I'm trying to set boundaries, my boundaries still aren't being met, I've done everything within my possible power, what point do you feel like, okay, it's just not being respected, I should just leave it alone?
I say this to anybody, is like, at the end of the day, you have to sit with the decision you're going to make. So if nothing else, what I would say is, when that time comes, and if you do make the decision, like, this isn't working and they simply are not, and I would say that obviously with giving somebody time, like for anything, when you try to put change into a relationship, you can't expect someone to change at the same pace that you would like to change.
Yes.
Be realistic with yourself as well for the change that you're asking, and how much that time frame should look like for somebody, because maybe they are trying to change and they just simply are going to have hiccups. It's like, you're human still, and you created a pattern, so you can't create a pattern and then be upset that somebody's following a pattern that you created, right?
Your boundary, whoever is watching this, and I mean you, what works for you specifically, not something that you have to apologize for, not something you have to feel bad for, then do it for you, because everybody else is doing it for themselves. And speaking to you as an empath, speaking to you as someone that has had problems in her past setting boundaries, and I'm learning to set boundaries now, it honestly makes such a big difference once you set a boundary, not only for everybody else, but most importantly for yourself. And I think it's so, so, so important. I say play devil's advocate with everything and just put yourself in the other person's shoes. And also just imagine for yourself, for example, girls, I know there's been times where we've said we didn't want to eat the chocolate and we're still eating chocolate. And we've told ourselves we don't want to eat the chocolate and we get mad at ourselves. So imagine you set a boundary for somebody else that is very comfortable doing what they're doing. They love what they're doing. They're happy with what they're doing. And now you're expecting them to change that. If they love you enough and if they feel like it's beneficial to them as well, then they may possibly change. So you just have to give them the time. But like she said, your threshold is your threshold. You know how much you're willing to take and how far you're willing to go with it.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I think that wraps up everything. So,
don't at me if the advice wasn't good. Where can you find me? You can definitely obviously follow my podcast, Miss Confidentiality. So that's on Spotify, iTunes, Google Playlist, and I have a special guest on, which Sadicka is a special guest this week. And we honestly talk about entries that were sent in anonymously. So that can be literally from how to deal with open relationships, how to deal with an ex that keeps coming back, how to deal with financial difficulties, how to deal with baby mom. Like, it literally just changes week to week. And if you do not like podcasts because you are cruel and bitter, you can definitely follow my serial committer survey questions that I do every other day on Miss Critchlow. So that's MISS.
I'll put it all down here.
CRICHLOW. And those are super fun because it's just honestly the most random relationship, single, open relationship, side chick questions.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being on my channel today and sharing. I felt like you gave a lot of insight. I had so much fun. You guys already know what to do. Give this video a big fat thumbs up. Comment down below any questions you may have. As usual, thank you so much for watching this video. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!